Hello everyone! At last there is some progress on my Eurorack sequencer. This is my take on the 8-step baby step sequencer, and it has a lot of CV options, but the most notable feature is that multiple units can be chained together. Let's take a look. So those are prototypes of my Eurorack sequencer. As you can see, I needed to fix some stuff on the fly, but this is the first fully working version. So this is my take on the baby step sequencer. This is an 8-step sequencer which got some unquantized CV outputs. So basically it is cycling through the 8 steps, and the pots here act as a voltage divider. So basically you can dial in the CV for every step. Maybe let's put here the panel on so you can see what is going on actually. So those are the 8 steps, and the LEDs then show you what step is active. I got CV options for most of the controls here. So rate here, I guess this is clear. So there's also a CV option for that. Steps, so you can dial down the length of the sequence. This can also be changed by the CV voltage here. So there's some reset input. So basically then the sequencer starts over, clock in and output. So it based on the rate, there's some clock generated, and so there can also be some external clock, but you can also take the clock out and use it for something else, another sequencer for example, or some step divider, something like this. Then there is the step length, so this can be changed here and also by CV. And then there is the gate, of course, so this then goes into some ADSR, for example, and the glide, so this is possible basically to shift between the different steps to change the voltage slowly towards the next step. And the lengths, so how fast the glide is, it can be changed here as well. Yeah, so those are the basic features, I guess. But I guess what I got working just recently, the most interesting feature, I guess, is that it got some link out and some link in connector, and this means you can chain multiple units together. That means you can extend the sequence by multiple units. So what happens basically is you connect the units together with a cable like this here. And what is important, that you power up the units at the same time. So what will then happen, the units will try to detect if there are other units in place. And it will auto-detect the position in the sequence, and if then this is finished, then the sequence will start on the first device and then will pass it over to the next device and so on, and the last unit will send it back to the first device, and it will start all over again. So in principle you can add multiple units to have a real nice long sequence with this. So we can take a look at that in a moment. I think another feature is, so this is based on some simple Arduino Nano. I think this is quite simple, and a lot of people are familiar with this. And also the software, this will be open source. So this means you can also make your changes, not only build the module, but make your own changes to the software to your liking. There is, you see, there's another 16-pin connector here. So this basically brings out all the pins that are not used from the Arduino. This means that the unit is also extendable, so you can basically build your own module to extend the unit. What comes to my mind is, for example, you could add MIDI clock, for example, or I also bring out the I2C bus. That would mean you could add some I2C device there, for some example, some I/O expander and all sorts of stuff. Different digital pins, also analog pins. So you could add a lot more controls or outputs to the sequencer by your own. So yeah, let's take a look. So the units are chained together. So here's the link out, and it goes here into the second unit, into the link in. What is important for the, as I said, for the link to chain multiple units together, it's important that you power the units up at the same time. So what I'm doing here, this won't work. So I would see it just runs here through a single sequence. So what I would need to do is to reset the units at the same time, and then they will auto detect. The other device will take some time, and as you can see now, it passes when the last step is reached. It passes the sequence over. Yeah. So let's make it here to the full step length, and maybe a bit slower. So for now, so the clock is different on both devices. What we could also do is we could bind the clock together. I guess this is something you would like. So I'd take here the clock output. So this would be the fourth connector, and put it here to the clock input. So this would mean now I can control the clock with the first device here. Yeah, so I mean, it might be a bit quirky, but you could also change the step lengths here, for example, something like this. So when here the last step is reached, then it would pass over here, and vice versa. Yeah. So I guess that's it feature-wise. Yeah, I'm thinking of maybe building some extension module on my own. Maybe to also make a drum sequencer out of it, or even have different sequences go forth and back, or in some random order, something like this. But let's see. For now, get this started here. I think this is, yeah, I think that's nice. All right, that's it. Alright, that's all for today for the sequencer. Make sure to check out my online store. So there are all sorts of DIY Eurorack kits to get you started. Alright, stay tuned. See you.